Hello to all my fans and friends, I'm the Pyjama Critic, and because no matter how hard my husband tries to lose me, I always find my way back, I'm here in the Slumber Lounge talking about movies. So how far can a series of movies go before they become stale and repetitive? Typically, in my experience, anything beyond the third movie usually sets the rapid downward spiral in motion. It's hard to say why. Often after two successful sequels, the fans are left clamouring for more. Throughout the production process, there will often be multiple plots and angles suggested that show there are many more places the series can be taken, and we know from long-running TV shows and novel series that characters and premises can have hundreds of hours of stories in them if need be. I would say the answer lies in the expectations of the fans themselves. Viewers get more hyped for a new movie than they do for a new episode of their favourite TV show. Plus, there's a given expectation for every new movie to continuously outdo the predecessors that the series just can't live up to the demands. There is a way around this, however. When a new instalment in a franchise is released years later and serves as a reboot, not a remake, but rather a new sequel that revitalises the old world while answering this question fans have had for years: what happens next? Often these updates can take advantage of the hype having died down and play on nostalgia, as well as taking advantage of increased production values and effects that have moved on in the intervening years. Pixar make maximum use of this, with our sequels often being years apart. They let fan anticipation build and capitalise on advancements in animation through the years, as well as their target audience having regenerated. Each sequel can be seen as a new version of an old movie for all the new kids out there. That is why each new instalment in the Toy Story series has proved more successful than the last, culminating in this. So let's take far too close a look at Toy Story 4. Released in 2019, directed by Josh Cooley and starring, oh boy here we go, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, the returning Annie Potts, the late Don Rickles, all the old hands too numerous to list, also being joined by Tony Hale, Christina Hendricks, Jordan Peele, Keanu Reeves and more. The film tells the story of our toy gang's latest adventure, including new friends, old flames, life-altering decisions and death-dealing foes. We break from tradition and open not inside a creative game, but with a backstory, as we are shown some previously unseen events from between Toy Story 2 and 3, specifically the story of what happened to Bo Peep to explain why she wasn't in the last movie. We briefly see young Andy, though John Morris had quit acting by this point and his lines are just sampled from earlier movies. So here the old gang: Woody played by Tom Hanks, Buzz played by Tim Allen, Jessie played by Joan Cusack, Cam played by John Batzenberger, Slinky played by Blake Clark and Rex played by Wallace Shawn. Just let me catch my breath there. And they're all in panic because one of the number was not brought inside by Andy, so they run next door to Molly's room, where Bo Peep, played by Annie Potts, puts a twist in her usual tale and sends her sheep out to find someone else who's lost. I just have to take a minute to admire the beautiful animation on the rain, both on the window and in the street. We are shown that the toy who was left outside by careless Andy was RC, and he is in imminent danger of being washed down the road by an insanely detailed and incredibly smooth animation of running muddy water and autumn leaves. The rescue operation is a success, but at that moment Andy's mum's friend arrived, and it seems Molly has offered to give her Bo Peep nightlights to their new baby. Woody, in his usual manner, is determined not to let that happen, but Bo has to be the more grounded one.
Woody, it's okay.
What? No, you can't go. What's best for Andy is
Woody, I'm not Andy's toy.
I always thought this particular character flaw of Woody doesn't really fit. Out of all the toys, he's the most resistant to change of any kind, but he's around 50 years old by now. He must have gone through a few changes in ownership. He should be more used to the idea that toys have to move on than any of the others. Still, Bo Peep floats the idea of Woody coming with her, but...
Mom, where's Woody? Andy, come inside. I can't find Woody.
It's clear that fulfilling their purpose as toys is taking them in separate directions for now, so they must say goodbye. So following that, the credits take us back to familiar ground as we get this montage of Woody and friends enjoying their playtime, first with Andy, then the handover, and once again being played with by Bonnie, bringing us right up to the present day where our heroes are in a closet waiting for Bonnie. We get our first lines from Potato Head, played posthumously by Don Rickles.
It's getting hot in here.
Where's my ear? You're on my foot. Oh, hey, quit shoving.
Sorry, oh my horn.
It wasn't an oversight that I didn't mention him in my list earlier. Don Rickles died in 2017 at the age of 90, having already agreed to do this movie, but before he'd recorded any lines, of course. After asking permission from the actor's children and receiving enthusiastic encouragement, Cooley collected up all the recordings they had of Potato Head from the first three movies, the hours of previously unused recordings, as well as lines he recorded for the games, clips on the Pixar website, and sound bites that he played over the speakers in Disneyland, and put them to good use so that Potato Head could still have a role in this movie without replacing the actor. I mentioned way back in my first Toy Story video that leadership roles in the toy world seem to be based on seniority, meaning that now Woody is no longer the longest serving or even favourite toy in the room, he has to defer to Dolly, played by Bonnie Hunt. This he does with minimal fuss.
Any minute now.
You hear that? Any minute now. Wind him if you got him. Keep your batteries clean, your joints unlocked.
Thanks, Woody, I got it.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're right.
There's not much I can say about Dolly. Despite being introduced as the new leader, she doesn't have much of a role after this first act. Woody finds that having a girl as his kid means he is often sidelined in favour of Jessie. This scene where he is left in the closet with the other forgotten toys helps set up later developments in the movie, as well as providing us with a quartet of cameos from comedy legends Mel Brooks, Carol Burnett, Carl Reiner and Betty White.
Oh, looky there. You got your first dust bunny.
Oh, how adorable! What you gonna name it?
What about Dusty?
Francis.
Harry.
Karen. Fuzzball.
Just can't decide.
Honey, what are you doing? We gotta go. You don't want to be late for kindergarten orientation, do you?
But
So we finally arrive at the point of the matter, which is that it's Bonnie's first day at kindergarten, and a combination of Woody's obsessive devotion to his kid and need to feel wanted leads him to hitch a ride in her backpack so he can keep watch over her. The real purpose for this, of course, is so that we, the audience, can be taken along to school with Bonnie, as this movie is all through the toy's perspective, so the only way we could see Bonnie settling into school is through the eyes of Woody, which we do, and it all looks like a fine and fun environment. Also, look out for these two mums. Brief as it is, that was the entirety of Pixar's LGBT inclusion at this point. Bonnie does her best to overcome her nerves and enters the classroom, where they're learning about PlayStations today. The teacher, due to years of experience, completely ignores Bonnie's obvious signs of distress and allows her to sit alone, where, with a bit of encouragement from Woody to justify his presence in this scene, she sets about a craft project of her own design. This creative achievement that pleases her teacher and her parents is all it takes to help Bonnie settle in. Woody is relieved but not surprised, until... So I guess that answers one of the major questions. Toys, like all great artwork, have life breathed into them when they are made and considered as characters. Since Bonnie considers this craft project to be her new toy, he comes to life as a toy. Forky, played by Tony Hale.
Trash? No. Toys. They're all toys.
Trash.
As Woody introduces Forky to the rest of the toys, we see how this mirrors Buzz's introduction in the first movie, but with many of the roles reversed. When Buzz arrived, all the toys were welcoming apart from Woody, who wanted to exclude him. Here, all the toys are dismissive of Forky and Woody has to encourage his inclusion. While both characters had to come to terms with their identity as toys, Buzz had grand illusions of being so much more than he was, while Forky is coming from the opposite angle, not even realising he is supposed to have an identity, thinking he should be a piece of trash. Indeed, his determination over these next scenes to become trash, while Woody insists he try and be a toy, is a toy version of a depressive kid determined to kill himself, while concerned friends try to persuade him he has reasons to live, though often come up blank when challenged about what those reasons are. As Bonnie's parents take her on vacation in a camper van, turning this into a road movie, we continue the theme of Woody doing everything he can to protect Forky from his own self-destruction. The psychology here is fascinating. Woody claims to be looking after Forky and Bonnie's best interest by keeping them together, even if that is against Forky's will, but really he's determined to give his own life meaning. If you think I'm reading too much into a kids movie, remember that with all the fans of the old movies who have now grown up, as well as a new wave of parents taking their children to this movie, the adults in the audience far outweigh the younglings by this point. All this is best displayed in this conversation where Woody plays the role of an exhausted helicopter parent refusing help, rather let down by Buzz failing to learn the concept of a conscience.
So your inner voice advises you. What?
It's a secret mission in a charted space. Let's go.
I should have mentioned this earlier in the series, but all these movies involve Buzz regressing and becoming naive in some form. This childish misunderstanding of what Woody is trying to say, and the whole subplot that follows with Buzz thinking the voice that plays when he presses his buttons is his conscience, really stretch that, and is one way that shows this series and characters are really running out of steam by this point. Another suicide attempt by Forky means Woody has to go after him, so the narrative is split into two tracks for a while, one of which follows Woody retrieving Forky, and as they walk through a gallery of beautiful oil paintings, they have this stuffing to plastic core talk, where Woody lets slip his true motivation and Forky comes to understand just what he means to Bonnie.
Like it or not, you are a toy. Maybe you don't like being one, but you are one nonetheless, which means you are going to be there for Andy when he
Who's Andy?
Just like with Buzz in the first movie, Woody opens up about himself and his insecurity, and in the process helps Forky appreciate his true value as a toy, though this time it comes a lot earlier so we can let Woody get on with his main plot point that he hopes to find in this antique store.
Bo?
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 Oh.
I could make a separate video about this shop interior and all the Easter eggs contained within. To make it look like the sort of shop where every item on the shelves is unique, the animators delved into their catalogue of images rendered for all movies and shorts. As they walk through the aisles, you will see the petrol pump from Cars, Coral from Finding Nemo, parts of the Axiom, as well as models of Wall-E robots. Then there's the shorts, the hat from Pesto is here, and the wind turbine from Lifted. Simply put, if you want to spot them all, then pause this scene on every shot and cancel all plans for the next 5 weekends. So, time to meet our main antagonist. I don't consider that a spoiler, we all know this formula by now. New character appears, trying to be helpful and overly welcoming to the point of borderline kidnapping our heroes, but at the same time gives off some creepy vibes.
We were just out for my early morning stroll. And look, we met you.
This is Gabby Gabby, played by Christina Hendricks, and of course Slappy.
And this is my very good friend, Vincent.
Oh,
Whatever, call him what you like, that's Slappy from the Goosebumps series. He walks with a stooped form because that sort of dummy relies on the hand inside them to keep them upright, and Woody and Forky are incredibly brave just to still be here talking to Gabby. Introduce me to a dummy like that, and even before he moves, I'll be out that door and possibly over the state line before you finish saying this is.
And look at that. You have a voice box like me. Vincent, show him.
oh, that's really not necessary.
My record works just fine. It's the voice box that's broken. Does yours still work?
Hey,
There's a snake in my boot.
Listen to that.
Gabby Gabby doesn't waste time and quickly reveals her true intentions. She wants Woody's voice box in the hopes that if she's in full working order, the granddaughter of the shop owner will want to play with her. Woody makes his escape, we get a chase scene that reminds us just how oblivious to humans in this world are, and Woody is found by the girl Harmony and taken away, unfortunately without Forky, who is held by the evil ventriloquist dummies, as if there's any other kind. So back over to the rest of the toys, where Buzz realises two important things.
We all should have been safeguarding the utensil.
Why isn't Woody back yet?
Do you think he's lost?
Buzz, what do we do?
What do we do, Buzz? Buzz, what do we do?
well,
What do we do, Buzz? What do we do, Buzz? Buzz.
That he's not ready to be a leader just yet. Not sure why Dolly or Jessie doesn't step in and take charge here, but Buzz is pressured into taking action.
No time to explain. Attack!
No time to explain.
Okay, what is with everyone jumping out the window?
Outside of upping the slapstick entertainment value, he is unsuccessful.
Rod. Hey, step right up, put your money down, get yourself real Buzz Lightyear. Hey.
Meanwhile, Woody abandons Harmony, got to love how his morals concerning playtime and being there for kids stop meaning anything when it suits him, and lands in a playground where serendipity is on his side.
Hello, Mr. Cowboy. How are you today? Do you like riding horses?
They're able to slip off somewhere more private, where Bo Peep, now more grown up and made of much tougher china, fills Woody in on her new lifestyle, as well as introducing him to her friends in this playground, including Giggle McDimples, played by Ali Mackey, a generic version of Polly Pocket, Sylvanian families, and all those tiny dolls that kids collect and play with on mini-sets. Also, this reminds her of the first movie.
Where are you headed?
Combat Carl just heard there's a birthday party at the playground on Main Street. Rumor has it they got 2 piñatas. That could be...
Combat Carl, played by Carl Weathers. Like the Barbies before him, he comes in multiple guises, but they're all the same character played by the same actor. He's also responsible for one of the best running gags in the series, where the different versions of the character often exchange high fives, with the Snow Patrol one always missing out. Like the toys in the nursery, Lost Toys in this playground are making the most of that situation and having a great time with it, as they are enjoying consistent playtime with a variety of kids, all for one day at a time. They do, however, remember the value of having a special bond with one kid and understand the value other toys and their kids place on that, which is why Woody is able to convince Bo Peep and Giggle to help him rescue Forky, despite Bo's bad experience with both the antique store and Gabby Gabby. A pause in the action for some character development. We get some insight into Gabby's persona as she appears to be obsessed with Harmony and takes advantage of Forky's naive trust to learn more about Woody.
I want to know everything about him.
Oh yeah, Woody. I've known that guy my whole life. 2 days. Hey, did you know that Bonnie was not his first kid?
Meanwhile, Buzz, still held captive on a carnival stall, gets to know his neighbouring prisoners, Ducky and Bunny, played by Keegan-Michael Kay and Jordan Peele. I think they're best described as the Jay and Silent Bob of Pixar.
to infinity and my foot! Boom! In a galaxy far, far away, you got kicked in the head! Boom!
How do I get out of here?
I love how there are certain staples in entertainment, from Shakespeare to modern buddy cop movies and everything else in between. There has always been and always will be a place for the clown duo that is often superfluous to the plot, but ends up being the most memorable thing in the story. Again, I try not to dwell on it, but I have to ask if any people are capable of noticing anything happening right in front of them, as first Buzz makes his escape and attempts to find Woody, pursued by Plush, Abbott and Costello. Then Woody and Bo make their way through the carnival, with Giggle providing some comical background commentary.
The cowboy, what's the deal?
There's no deal.
Uh-huh. Don't do this to yourself.
Cowboy's got a kid. Giggle.
Trust me, I've been there. You know about me and He-Man. I'm not proud.
I don't want to ask how that works. I can only guess with a stepladder and a great deal of determination. Both paths reunited on the roof of the antique store. We get this neat callback to the first movie.
Buzz! My old moving buddy!
So good to see you.
Woody, it's Bo Peep!
And cuddly Keenan and Kel catch up and steal the scene. I'm not complaining, they're such awesome characters, they can't help it, and I wouldn't have wanted the pace to be slowed with a long emotional reunion. The soft gangsters quickly become friends of Woody and Buzz and Bo when they realise Bonnie could be their new child.
Come with me, I'll take you to Bonnie.
We get the kid. We're getting a kid. We're gonna get a kid.
All right, let's go.
That rescue mission takes them through yet more incredible well-detailed set designs. I mentioned in the previous video, this animation studio likes to show what new details they have perfected with each movie. This time it's cobwebs and dust effects that are made to look so perfectly natural. We can also admire the movement of the fur on Ducky and Bunny, but that effect was old hat by this point. Wonderful example here of a picture that paints 1,000 words. Forky is obviously not using that hairbrush effectively, but Gabby lets him think he's helping in order to build this faux relationship with Forky, so Gabby can use him as a means to get what she wants once Woody and Bo find their way to them. While Giggle and Buzz are working on a plan to get hold of a key they're going to need, Ducky and Bunny go on an aside about how they would go about things, stopping the movie for these sketches based around their plans.
Okay, right? Not gonna happen. N-O.
Back in the real world, Bo Peep takes Woody to a secret community within the antique store where we meet a few more references to other Pixar movies and our final new character who Bo Peep believes can help them.
Hi, Duke.
Who's the cowboy?
Duke, meet Woody. Woody, meet...
Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman. Huh. Oh yeah. Huh.
Duke Nukem, played by Keanu Reeves, a stunt bike toy with a love for posing and a rather patriotic streak. He reveals that his pride was shattered on his first day of playtime when the kid who bought him was disappointed by the large gulf between what the commercial promised and how he actually performed. I can fully understand. I was that kid when I got my Evel Knievel figure for Christmas, though I didn't give up on him entirely, I just played with him like a regular action figure. Hope that helped to spare his feelings. Bo Peep is able to build up his confidence and persuade them to help, as well as call out his catchphrase.
Can you do the jump?
Yes, I Canada!
As far as I'm aware, that's the only time Keanu Reeves has admitted to being Canadian in the movie. All his other characters have been implied to be Americans, but he certainly makes up for that here. Turns out getting the key wasn't so difficult, so they reunite with Buzz and Giggle and set about their plan. Like I said before, I don't have time to point out all the Easter eggs in this shot, but this should give you an idea of how plentiful they are. In the 1.2 seconds that this image is on screen, we have a stack of movies, all with the titles of Pixar shorts, and this model of a character from Planes.
Well, you've handled this lost toy life better than I could.
Aw, Sheriff. You're selling yourself short.
Whenever these two are working on something together, they compare lifestyles. Bo Peep waxes lyrical about the lost toy life, and Woody explains that he could never live without a kid, but does seem intrigued. I think it's pretty clear where this is all going. A little more Great Escape style action, and we come to the first of several final confrontations. Not for the first time where Bo Peep is concerned, Woody finds himself being pulled in two directions at once. Nice and subtle. Landing us in this slightly corny high-speed chase that rather makes me want to revisit the Micro Machines game on the Sega Genesis. This lands us outside, where we have the usual animal pain, and Woody finally makes the confession we've been waiting for all movie.
Yes, listen to her.
Nobody wants this.
I do.
Why?
Because.
Why?
Just because.
Why?
Because it's all I have left to do. That's not what I meant. Bonnie needs Forky.
No, you need Bonnie.
So, with all the true desires laid bare, the gang go their separate ways. Bo back to the fairground, accompanied by Ducky and Bunny. Buzz discovers his voice box has excellent comic timing, so heads back to the camper van and Bonnie.
Mission accomplished. Return to base.
Go back to the RV? What about Woody?
We're going home, Space Ranger. Fall back.
Woody re-enters the antique store to rescue Forky, and I enter the spoiler section of this review. Here's where I'm going to talk about the ending of this movie, and if you haven't seen this yet, be warned, there are some real plot twists coming. So if you don't want to know how this ends, then skip to this time code for my final thoughts and ratings. Otherwise, let's rejoin Woody in the antique store. First we get a jump scare worthy of a Japanese horror movie.
Hello, Woody. I knew you'd be back.
Must have been a real popcorn spiller for the kids in the audience. Then this shocking speech from Gabby that naturally became the clip played at every award ceremony where this film was nominated.
Can we agree on just one thing?
What?
That being there for a child is the most noble thing a toy can do. I was defective right out of the box. I can only imagine what it must have been like for you.
The music, artwork and of course Christina Hendricks' performance all combine to make this speech such an emotional ride, as Gabby goes from threatening to pleading, frightening to pitiful, as now it is Gabby's turn to lay out her true feelings, and we have come to understand that all her plots and schemes to get Woody's voice box come from that age-old base desire of all living things. She just wants to be loved.
All I want is a chance for just one of those moments. I'd give anything to be loved the way you have.
Clearly Woody understands this too, as he is prepared to voluntarily give up his voice box. The next few scenes, setting us up for the finale, slow things down a little bit, but not too much. The downbeat moods in some parts and multiple false finishes drag out the finale to an extent, but none of these scenes really feel like filler, as they all serve a purpose. We have Buzz delaying the departure of Bonnie's family, which includes throwing the rules and all caution into space.
Your backpack's in the antique store. Let's go!
Oh no, my backpack! I left my backpack in the antique store.
We have Bo Peep and friends preparing for their departure, only for her to realise she does love Woody and wants to reunite with him. We have the aftermath of Woody's operation and Gabby's big moment with Harmony, leading to this incredible anti-climax.
I found this old doll.
You can take it home if you want.
Honestly, any attempt at doom and gloom in this shot was in vain after that laugh Harmony got. Of course, this pulls at Woody's heart stitches, and he has to try and persuade Gabby to come with him to Bonnie and not give up hope after one rejection.
A friend once told me, there are plenty of kids out there. And one of them is named Bonnie.
I think there's a lot of young people desperately trying to cling to a bad relationship simply because it's the only thing they have ever known who could learn from this. I know, because I was one of them. So with Woody and Bo and Gabby working together, but the camper van already setting off, it's time for the big chase. I really think this finale would have worked better without the repeated attempts of departure of Bonnie's family, because the multiple delaying tactics used by the toys back in the van do get rather stale.
Another right!
Another right? That's the wrong way.
Are you sure?
I'm a huge wrestling fan, and this reminds me of the big main events where the match has reached its natural conclusion, but there's still another 10 minutes of airtime to fill, so the wrestlers just treat us to multiple finishing moves and kickouts until somebody inexplicably stays down for the pin. Luckily, this is interspersed with some fun scenes as Woody and friends take on their attempts at covert action to a new level as they disguise themselves as a self-driving pram. And that woman spent the rest of her life in therapy. So that's the rest of this movie. Lots of mini climaxes with Woody and the others interspersed with filler in the camper van. Duke Kaboom gets his moment in his biggest stunt yet.
This is for you, Richard. Kaboom.
Buzz and friends go full saboteur on a camper. Gabby spots this lost girl and decides to take a chance on her.
Excuse me? Can you help us?
The right decision overall, really, because Bonnie has more in common with Andy than Molly. Dolls aren't really her thing. So with Gabby off with her new kid and the rest of the toys all meeting for their final goodbyes, we have this surprisingly effective final twist in the tale, as Woody has to decide just who he is saying goodbye to.
She'll be okay. Bonnie will be okay.
With Woody choosing Bo Peep over Bonnie, he embarks on his new venture as a lost toy, and he and Buzz finally part, leaving us a definitive and highly satisfying end to the series, with some post-credits fun showing everybody is enjoying their new roles, and even Combat Carl fulfilling his desire.
Kaboom! Yes.
So that was Toy Story 4, and I could not ask for a better ending to the franchise. While I can't deny this wasn't the strongest entry in regards to story and characters, with a lot of old themes being revisited to the point where some parts could be seen as homages to earlier movies, there was enough new material to keep us engaged throughout. While it reuses familiar themes of Woody being insecure about his future and trying to create a purpose for himself, as well as a new toy has to learn his identity for the first time, the introduction of Forky provides a fresh new take on both themes, although Buzz's role did feel rather repetitive of old movies. The animation has really reached its peak by this point, and once again it is worth watching this without any children so you can just frequently pause and admire the artwork. The new cast members give their all, and I am left wishing Ducky and Bunny could have had more screen time, like a mini-series of their own. At least Forky got a series of shorts that are definitely worth looking up on Disney+. Overall, the best thing about this movie is the ending that really ties up the whole series in such a satisfying conclusion that it makes all four movies seem like a giant arc for Woody that neatly comes to a close here. The great finish and fine art are almost but not quite enough to make up for the copycat nature of the main body of this story, so this final entry in the Toy Story franchise comes in at a reasonable 3 slippers. Thank you for watching. Be sure to be like Gabby and learn to use your voice by liking the video, commenting below, maybe let me know what your toys get up to when you're not around, and if you're new, then be sure to subscribe for new reviews in your inbox every Friday. I've been the Pyjama Critic, and remember, toys are not trash. Every toy deserves a chance to meet the right child. Apart from creepy, nightmare-inducing ventriloquist dummies, those guys deserve the waist grinder.
You really have laser eyes. Yeah. Whoa.